Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a Spain news update. And the Spanish government has finally succumbed and said that it will lower VAT on gas from October through to December, the last 3 months of the year. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation or by buying me a beer or a coffee or through the new super thanks option. Many thanks for that. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your ongoing support. Now, let's get into the news. And as I said, the government has finally come around, has finally decided to listen to what the opposition party here in Spain, the PP, has been saying for a while, and has said that it will lower VAT on gas for the last 3 months of the year. As we can read here, Sanchez announces a cut in gas VAT to 5% as demanded by the PP opposition party. The government will lower VAT on gas from October from the current 21% to 5%, as announced this Thursday by the head of the government, Pedro Sanchez. It is precisely one of the measures that the PP has been demanding for months to implement to neutralise the rise in inflation, as it had already reduced the value-added tax on the price of electricity or had subsidised petrol. And it is, moreover, a measure that this very Wednesday had been rejected by various members of the government, among them the Minister of the Presidency, Felix Bolaños, the strongman of Moncloa. So, there we go, and that article gives you an idea of how things work here in Spain when it comes to government decisions. On Wednesday, various high-profile members of the government deny that they're going to lower VAT on gas, and then on Thursday, one day later, the Prime Minister comes out and says that they will indeed lower VAT on gas. So not even the government on the same page when it comes to decisions like this. Now, the crazy weather that we have been experiencing here in Spain for the last few months looks set to continue, and there's now an alert for the possible arrival of a tropical cyclone in Spain. When will it reach the Iberian Peninsula? Just a few days ago, the arrival of a storm from polar latitudes was announced, which would mainly affect the northwest coast of the peninsula at the end of the week, with heavy rain and storms. Now, eltiempo.es has warned that a possible tropical cyclone could head towards Spain. eltiempo.es adds that there are currently 3 different disturbances under surveillance for the possible formation of tropical systems in the coming days. So heat waves and drought this summer, and now a tropical cyclone headed for Spain. What's next? Now, there's some more bad news when it comes to the economy and the unemployment rate here in Spain, and it is that Spain has experienced its worst August in the last 3 years, losing 189,963 Social Security affiliates and adding 40,428 unemployed people. The labour market suffered a new setback in August, even sharper than in July, after losing 189,963 Social Security affiliates and adding 40,428 unemployed to the lists of the State Public Employment Service, SEPE. In both cases, this is the worst figure for an August in the last 3 years, when the pandemic had not yet blurred the labour market. Although in total record figures were once again recorded, the number of contributors remains above 20 million, and the total number of unemployed remains below 3 million, the lowest for the 8th month of the year since 2008. So the labour market in Spain appears to be again hitting the rocks. And as we saw there, the worst August data for 3 years. Now, the Spanish government earlier in the week passed an important law when it comes to protecting women here in Spain. As we can see from this headline from The Economist, Spain acts to protect women. They called their chat group the PAC, the 5 men who raped an 18-year-old woman in a doorway during the San Fermin festival in Pamplona in 2016. They even filmed their crime, but a court in Navarra found them guilty of only sexual abuse, a charge well below rape. The judges found that the victim had not physically resisted, and therefore the violence or threat that must accompany the crime was absent. An appeals court agreed, only after an uproar were the men found guilty of rape by Spain's Supreme Court. But the tumult did not subside, and the slogan "No means no" gave way to a new one, "Solo sí es sí," only yes is yes. Now Spain's parliament has passed a law with that at its core. Sex without clear consent in word or deed would count as the serious crime of sexual aggression or rape. So the important only sí es sí, only yes is yes law passed in Spain earlier this week. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Margaret: "My husband had open heart surgery. Our insurance paid in full. The only cost was phone, which was $12. We pay only $200 per month, all doctor's visits free. tests free. Yeah, Margaret, thanks for the comment, and obviously talking about the cost of private healthcare here in Spain, a topic that we started the other day, considering the fact that I am now thinking about changing to private healthcare. And as you said in your comment, the cost of your husband's open heart surgery didn't cost you anything extra, only $12 in phone calls. And the price that you mentioned there, $200 a month, does seem reasonable in my opinion. So if anybody else has stories to tell about their dealings with private healthcare here in Spain, please let us know in the comment section below. Is it a good deal or a bad deal compared to the public system? Let us know. One here from Julia. I'm on the Spanish health system. I used my mobile app to make an appointment on the phone in May. They called me 20 minutes later and they made an appointment for me 2 days later. When seeing the doctor 2 days later, she required blood tests, which were done 3 days after my doctor's appointment. No problem with the social security system for me. Spain has 7 nuclear reactors in operation in 5 sites, whereas 3 power reactors are currently shut down. Yeah, Julia, thanks for the comment and thanks for giving us your input on the national health system here in Spain. And according to your comment, you are very happy with the system. This topic popped up in the live stream yesterday because I said that I recently had a bad experience with the public health system. I tried to get an appointment the other day, and the first appointment available to see my local GP is in 14 days' time. And I asked myself the question, what is the point? Especially if you've got a health issue and you need to see a doctor quickly, 14 days, in my opinion, is a little bit too long. And what most people do in this part of Spain is that they avoid GPs altogether and go to the emergency ward at the local hospital, and that of course clogs up the system. But of course, waiting times to see a GP will depend on where you are in Spain. For example, Julia there in Valladolid, only a couple of days, but here in Madrid, a couple of weeks. So a fairly big difference. One here from David, why are you always so down on Spain? It's a wonderful country. Try coming to the USA where there are more guns than people and where some cities are getting close to Brazil levels of violence. We have politicians openly talking of armed civil conflict. We have no public health care. Public transit is a horror show and driving is a nightmare. Everyone is in crippling levels of debt and nothing is affordable aside from a Big Mac. Huge swaths of the population is addicted to one drug or another, and resulting homelessness has rendered most big cities resembling somewhere out of the deep third world. You and every Spaniard is so fortunate to be living in Spain. You have no clue how lucky you are. Quit complaining and be appreciative. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment and thanks for the direct feedback. And to be honest, I had no idea that where you are living is such a hellhole. And after reading the description that you've just given, I'm going to thank my lucky stars. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again for your sake, David, and for other people that think that I'm too negative about Spain. The stories that we see on this channel are coming directly from the Spanish press. So if you have a problem with the negativity, blame them, not me. In fact, I would say I'm fairly positive when I talk about Spain in general. In fact, I've got a lot of videos out there where I talk positively about this country, especially when it comes to quality of life and the variety of things that you can do in this country. But politically, I'm fairly negative, and there are certain things about this country that I do not like, and that is the same, I imagine, anywhere in the world. So yes, Spain is a wonderful country, but it does have its problems, and that's what I try to point out on this channel, that there are some good things and some bad things, unlike some other Spain vlogs that would like you to believe that this is the perfect country. But in my opinion, that is not the case. And if you want me to give you some direct feedback, David, get out while you still can. And finally, one here from Angie. Stu, I am in the hills above Malaga. It is very cold in the winter. Wood burner is a must, along with a good choice of jumpers. Yeah, Angie, thanks for the comment. Obviously related to a story that we saw yesterday, that Spaniards are stocking up on wood, preparing for the winter months, because maybe some of the other ways to keep warm this winter will not be available. For example, a constant gas supply. And if you are living in one of the colder, hilly or mountainous parts of Spain, I'm sure that a good wood fire burner is an absolute must, and as you said, a good selection of jumpers. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.